Welcome back to the Deep Dive, powered by DRS Zone. Okay, we are totally ripping up the F1 script today. We're diving headfirst into, well, the chaos after the Mexican Grand Prix. I mean, 4 races, solid Red Bull dominance. It was almost getting predictable, right?
It really was. And then, boom, Lando Norris just takes it apart, wins by a huge margin.
Huge. It sent this, immediate shockwave through the whole championship conversation.
Absolutely. Changed the temperature completely. That win wasn't just significant. It felt, well, definitive for that race. Suddenly this title fight, it's not just theory anymore. It's real. It's happening.
Exactly. So that's our mission today in this deep dive. We need to unpack all the source material, the expert takes that followed, everyone saying the championship's been turned upside down.
Right.
So we need to figure out, for you, the listener, was Mexico a real turning point? Did McLaren find something permanent? Or was it just weird? You know, a high-altitude thing, an anomaly that maybe actually still plays into Max Verstappen's hands long-term?
Yeah, that's the core question.
We've got the tech breakdowns, the team politics, the psychology.
Yeah.
It's all here.
Okay, let's start with the anomaly idea. Because Mexico, what happened there, it was so dictated by the circuit itself, or really the air, or lack of it.
Right, the altitude.
That altitude in Mexico City, it's like this invisible technical enemy. It basically forces the cars into a setup, almost like Monaco or Singapore, you know, low speed, high downforce. It just radically changes how teams have to approach it.
And it really looks like Red Bull paid the price for that thin air, didn't they? One of the best theories came from McLaren, actually, after qualifying, about the cooling.
Yes, the cooling conundrum.
Yeah.
This is super important to understand why Red Bull seemed off their game.
Okay.
So Red Bull normally runs this incredibly tight, efficient aero package.
Yeah.
That's where their skid comes from, fundamentally. But in Mexico's thin air, your cooling efficiency just plummets. So teams have to make these huge kind of refrigeration concessions. McLaren basically suggested Red Bull had to open up their cooling inlets, their engine cover, way more than McLaren did.
Yeah. And, okay, if you have to open the car up like that for cooling, what happens to that super efficient aero they usually rely on?
It dies.
Yeah.
You're sacrificing drag minimization, which is like Red Bull's whole thing, just to stop the engine melting.
Wow.
The sources back this up. Red Bull made specific, pretty big changes to the engine cover, the side pods, all about managing heat. It was described as damage limitation, not performance optimization. They were basically firefighting overheating issues instead of competing efficiently.
So fighting with one hand tied behind their back, essentially. But the sources also say cooling wasn't the only problem. There was something else, a setup mistake.
Yes, and this must have driven them crazy on the pit wall. A fundamental setup mistake, confirmed by Helmut Marko himself. They got the ride height wrong. L-rate. Probably went too aggressive.
Too low to the ground.
Exactly. And when we talk ride height, we're talking tiny margins, millimeters. Well, but during quali, when Max was really pushing, the car was visibly bottoming out, hitting the ground hard, especially in the fast corners.
Okay, maybe explain for the listener, why is hitting the ground such a big deal in these ground effect F1 cars? It's not just a bumpy ride, is it?
Oh, no, it's a catastrophe.
Yeah.
Because these cars, they need that floor sealed to the track to generate all that downforce. When it hits the ground, bottoms out, you momentarily break that aerodynamic seal.
Oh.
The diffuser stalls. You get this sudden, really violent loss of rear stability, rear downforce, just chaos. That's what the sources called a trilazo, like a whip crack. It completely destabilizes the car right when Max needs total confidence.
Okay, so that kills your qualifying lap, but you mentioned it wasn't quite as bad in the race. How does that work? Seems counterintuitive with more fuel.
Yeah, it seems weird, but it's about speed and load. In qualifying, you're at maximum attack, maximum speed through corners. That generates peak aero load, squashes the suspension down hard, and boom, you hit the ground at that wrong ride height.
Got it.
In the race, even with the heavier fuel load, you're generally managing things more. Slower corner speeds, preserving tires. The car generates less peak downforce, so it compresses less. Doesn't hit the ground as often or as badly.
So Verstappen could manage it better on Sunday, but the damage was done in qualifying because of that setup mistake?
Pretty much. A qualifying blunder really prevented their usual dominance, even if he salvaged a decent result.
Okay, so summing up Section 1. Red Bull's dip seems like a perfect storm.
Right.
Technical compromises because of the altitude, plus a crucial ride height error that hustled them at peak performance. They weren't just suddenly slow. The circuit handicapped them.
Exactly. Which leads us nicely onto McLaren and this continuation of the hunt. But If you're thinking this means McLaren has found some magic bullet for consistent challenges everywhere, the sources urge a bit of caution.
Yeah, this is a really key piece of info. McLaren didn't actually bring any new parts to Mexico. 0 upgrades.
Correct. Same car as the races before.
So their success was completely context-driven. They nailed the setup for that specific challenge. The altitude, the cooling demands, it wasn't an upgrade leapfrogging Red Bull.
And that really acts as a kind of barometer check, doesn't it? The expert thinking is pretty clear. Once we get back to a more normal track, sea level, like Brazil, well, Red Bull will probably be back to their usual dominant selves.
And McLaren.
McLaren will still be strong, a very good car, consistent, but maybe just not quite enough to overcome that, that Max and Red Bull combination when everything's working properly for them.
Still, whatever happens next, the points gap has shrunk. Max did limit the damage against Piastri, his main title rival right now, but it went from 40 points down to 36.
It's still a decent buffer, yeah. Much margin, as they say.
Yeah.
But the sources are all saying the tension, it's now maximum.
Maximum tension. And not just externally, between the teams, it sounds like it's ramping up inside McLaren, too.
Oh, yeah. This is juicy. The sources are saying the internal dynamic is totally shifted. Those papaya rules, team orders, maybe consequences for clashing. Gone. Thrown out.
No way.
That's what the analysis suggests. They're letting Lando and Oscar race. Properly race. Freely.
Okay, this is where the championship gets seriously spicy, given how close they are on pace.
The analysis says they are basically condemned to be very close. Experts reckon it's almost inevitable they'll touch or have some kind of major issue in these last few races. What is it, 4 races and 2 sprints left?
Yeah, plenty of opportunity for fireworks.
And that immediately makes you think, okay, if the leaders stumble, if they take each other out or lose points, who picks up the pieces? We need to talk about the Shacklaw factor.
The hyena factor. Love it. The predator waiting nearby.
Exactly that. If the 2 main contenders right now, the McLaren guys, make mistakes, collide, the one who's usually super consistent doesn't often fail. The one coming from behind.
Max Verstappen.
He could be the immediate beneficiary. Or, maybe one McLaren benefits if the other makes a mistake. But the door is wide open now for huge point swings based on errors.
It feels like the whole dynamic has shifted. And hey, if you're watching this deep dive on YouTube right now, welcome to DRS Zone. Great to have you. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more F1 analysis like this, because we are definitely just getting started on the chaos here.
Speaking of chaos,
yeah,
it's really important to remember this isn't just a 2-way fight or even a 3-way fight. The math gets way more complicated because you got these, chaos agents.
You mean Ferrari and Mercedes? Still right in the mix.
Absolutely. The source analysis really flags the potential for, multiplied points damage. Think about it this way.
Okay.
If Max loses P1 to Lando, okay, that's a 7-point swing. Manageable? Maybe. But what if you get 2 Ferraris and maybe a Mercedes wedged between them in a race?
Right. So say Lando wins, but Max struggles and finishes, like P4 or P5.
Exactly. Suddenly, that 36-point lead starts vanishing exponentially fast.
Yeah.
It's not linear when other fast cars get involved consistently.
And specific tracks might help them, right? Like Vegas.
Vegas is a big one mentioned. Sources noted it could really suit Ferrari's package. And Mercedes was strong there last year, too. These tracks are massive opportunities for chaos. Imagine Max makes one small slip-up in qualifying. He could suddenly have 4 cars between him and Lando. 2 Ferraris, a Merc, Piastri.
Nightmare scenario for whoever is leading. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Away from the metal and the carbon fiber into the mind games. Because F1 titles, they're won as much in the head as on the track, right? The whole paraphernalia around it.
Oh, definitely. And the contrast right now between Verstappen and Norris is just fascinating. Max comes across as, the relaxed master.
Yeah, having fun, they say. Doesn't seem to feel the pressure.
Not at all. And the narrative around him is so strong, even if he finishes 3rd this year. People will still talk about what an amazing season he had. His confidence seems unshakable. It's almost a weapon in itself, Every statement he makes.
Even his love for American tape.
Yeah, exactly. Everything reinforces this image.
But Lando and McLaren, it's framed so differently, more like the self-doubting star.
Yeah, and the pressure on McLaren as a team feels immense. The analysis points out that even if they win the title, there might still be these lingering doubts. Do they only just scrape by with the fastest car? Or the nightmare scenario. What if they lose the title to Piastri, the rookie? How does that look?
That pressure must be intense. There was that moment in Mexico qualifying.
Well, the radio message. Yeah. Perfect example. Lando puts it on pole. Spectacular lap, right? And immediately On the radio, he says, almost in disbelief, I don't even know how I did it.
Yeah. And you contrast that with Max. When Max does something amazing, the vibe is always, of course I did it. I'm Max Verstappen.
Exactly. It's that absolute innate self-belief versus, well, maybe still searching for that final layer of it, that psychological difference, that mental game. It's a huge hurdle in a tight championship fight.
It really is the broader game, isn't it? Not just speed, but mental strength, projection, managing the spotlight when every single camera is pointed right at you. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up, synthesize it. We asked, Mexico, anomaly or turning point? Our deep dive suggests mostly anomaly. Red Bull definitely seemed crippled by the altitude, the setup errors. It wasn't like they suddenly lost raw pace.
Agreed. Seems circumstance-specific.
BUT. Crucially, that one anomaly, that one race, it has pumped maximum tension back into this whole thing. The points margin is suddenly tight again.
Yep, very tight.
The chaos agents, Ferrari, Mercedes, they're loaded and ready. And all these external factors, technical glitches, setup mistakes, even the psychological stuff, they're all waiting to pounce on any tiny mistake from the leaders.
Which brings us back to McLaren. With this maximum tension, and with team orders apparently out the window, who actually benefits more from that internal rivalry that now seems, well, inevitable?
Good question. Is it the drivers themselves finally unleashed to push each other? Or is it the Chapakal, that predator, maybe Max, just waiting in the wings, ready to gobble up the points if they trip over each other?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something for you to really think about as F1 heads into this absolutely crucial final stretch.
Definitely. For more expert analysis, more insights into F1, make sure you're following and subscribe to DRS Zone. We'll catch you next time for the next deep dive.